We open on a bright sunny morning, just as the people of the village were gathering on this day of June 27th for a celebration. All of the villages nearby had had lotteries as long as anyone, even Old Man Warner, the oldest man in town, could remember. Mr. Summers, the lottery coordinator, brings out the black box and places it on a three-legged stool. His posture and face are completely jovial and relaxed. Mr. Martin and his oldest son, Baxter, hold the black box in place while Mr. Summers shuffles the papers. The original paraphernalia for the lottery had been lost long ago. The black box now resting on the stool had been put into use even before Old Man Warner was born. A hush fell over the crowd as Mr. Summers cleared his throat.
Now, I'll read the names of the heads of the families, and they all come up and take a paper out of the box. Everything clear?
The names of the men of the village were called, and they all came up and took the paper. One by one,
Dunbar.
they all came up, until it was Bill Hutchinson's turn to draw. Before he came up onto the stage, though, Mr. Summers left.
It seems an urgent matter has come up. I will return shortly. Until then, Mr. Graves will be in charge of the lottery, and my wife will draw for me.
And so he left. However, just before he was gone, he glared slightly over his shoulder at Bill Hutchinson. The lottery continued without issue, except for a slight thumping under the stage, and by the time Mr. Summers returned, the drawing was over.
Alright, fellows, time to open up the slips.
Suddenly, everyone was yelling.
Who is it? Who got it? It's Bill! It's Bill Hutchinson's got it. Alright, folks, you know how this works. Hutchinson's, come up here and draw.
And so, each and every Hutchinson drew from the black box. Mr. and Mrs. Hutchinson, Bill Jr., Nancy, and even little Davy. However, all was not well among the family, and Mrs. Hutchinson was angry.
Alright, let's open up the slips.
Little Davy went first. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when his paper was blank. Bill Jr. and Nancy held their empty slips over their heads. Bill looked, slowly, at his paper. It was blank.
It's Tessie, show us her paper, Bill!
Mrs. Hutchinson opened her slip. It had the losing black dot on it.
It isn't fair! Alright, folks, let's finish this quickly!
Although the villagers had forgotten the ritual and lost the original black box, they still remembered to use the stones. Mrs. Delacroix picked up a stone so large she had to pick it up with both hands. Mrs. Dunbar had small stones in both hands, gasping for breath.
Oh, I can't run at all. You have to go ahead, and I'll catch up with you.
The children had stones already, and someone gave little Davy Hutchinson a few pebbles. Tessie was in a cleared space by now, and she held her hands out desperately as the villagers moved in on her.
It isn't fair!
A stone hit her on the side of the head.
It isn't fair! It isn't fair! Ah!
And then they were upon her. Many years earlier, in a courthouse.
This should be my company, Bill. I'm the one who actually knows how to run it the right way. It's not up to you, Joe, Your Honor, who gets the company. Bill Hutchinson. He is children, therefore he will be able to make better use of the company in the future. As long as he and his wife are alive and the children are too young, Bill will take ownership of the company.
Mr. Summers left the courthouse fuming. It was his company. Bill had taken it from him. He would have his revenge. And he would get his company back, whatever it took.